Hi, it's the Racing Post Video Forum and we're discussing the Scottish Premier League, and the big question here is which of the big two are going to dominate. So for you, Dale Tempest, Motherwell or Hearts?
I was thinking Hibs or Kilmarnock myself. No, I mean Rangers going out of the Champions League, you know, and incredible start, all that. I think the one thing, I just put a note on here, I went through our field books yesterday, no interest in this league whatsoever. We've taken more money on Scottish Division 1 than we have on the main league, and it's simply a case because it's dominated by these two. People take their views early on, but we're not seeing anything positive from Rangers or Celtic. It's a bit of a toss-up. Obviously the terrible result in the Champions League for Rangers. Celtic haven't particularly brought many players. I think Strachan's probably just gone 1 year past his sell-by date. Flick a coin up in the air, Bruce, and take your choice for me.
You just think it's as close as that, yeah?
Yeah, very, very difficult. I mean, top scorer McDonald's a standout, but because he's in a side that's going to score probably the most goals. But it is one of those divisions. Once again, can you name players in the side? Unless you can't, as a punter, you've really not done enough research and looked at the strengths and weaknesses. So once again, I'd say look elsewhere.
Does that Cascarino bloke still play for Celtic? No, Tony,
I think he might do.
We'll move on to, because you don't see it as an evens each or two affair, do you? I think you've got a fairly strong fancy here, don't you?
Well, I think Celtic will finish ahead. I look at Rangers. I watched a lot of them last year in Europe. I thought they were quite fortunate. I hated their style. I thought it was very negative. I look at also Kula might miss the start of the season. They're talking he could miss a couple of games. No Barry Ferguson in the middle of midfield for a few months. Big blow. Davis, haven't been able to agree a permanent deal for him. For me, all edged towards Celtic, and Strachan has been there a while, and it was an indifferent year last year. They still won it, and yet it was an indifferent year.
But was that because of the fixture congestion that Rangers was suffering, or just because in the end the quality came out?
I think that Rangers were overachieving for quite a number of months, and when I watched them, I always felt they were going to go for a sticky period. I just couldn't see them winning games. They were very, very negative. And Chris Boyd, when he did come in and get goals, he looked like staying in the team. He'd be dropped the week after. And they play one up front. And I think if they're going to do that in the SPL and play five in midfield, I just don't see them getting enough points.
Fair enough. Celtic for you. Mark, who do you think's recruited best so far in the summer?
Well, out of them two, Celtic and Rangers, neither of them, I think. Well, I think Rangers have done worse. I mean, how you can pay $3 million for Kyle Lafferty is just beyond belief. It's probably the worst £3 million player I think I've ever seen, and you know, he's just done nothing to justify
that. That's from a Tottenham support.
He's done nothing to justify. I mean,
Red, bro.
He's your cousin.
Well, I would say that Walter Smith's problem is that he picks goal scorers who can't score goals. I mean, he plays D'Archeville or Miller. They get 5-6 goals each a season. Just no good for me. I think that Celtic will win the division, but rather than take the 5-6, I'd rather be on 5-2. McDonald top scorer, romped away with it last year. Celtic score, you know, loads of goals, particularly at home against the Minnows, and you know, he's just there to sort of mop in 25-30 goals a season. I think he'll win quite easily. The only danger is Chris Boyd, and he spends more time on the bench than what he does on the pitch, because he doesn't do enough outside the box. But I mean, he's just a striker. He should be in the team every week, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, Ian Wilkerson, the Scottish correspondent at the Racing Post, with that cleverly disguised Paisley accent. Who do you fancy?
I would agree with Cass. I think it's Celtic's year this year. Rangers have had a dismal summer. I can't understand why Walter Smith's bought 3 strikers. He's got 3 already, but he only plays one of them every week. Celtic did the best bit of transfer business last season when they got Barry Robson in from Dundee United, and what that's done at Parkhead is it's increased competition for places in midfield, particularly in the centre of the park where they're strong. Paul Hartley had a good end to the season, so much so that Scott Brown, who was outstanding at the earlier part, had difficulty getting into the team. They've got more creativity down the wings, strikers. McDonald's on fire. I think he's a shoe-in for top goal scorer, and I can't see beyond them. I think Rangers are in trouble. You can say, oh well, they won't have a distraction of Europe this time, but you've got to be a decent side to have a distraction, and I can't see where the rot's going to end at the moment.
Okay, well, I mean, if you don't like tying your money up for 9 months for an even money shot, obviously there's some value elsewhere in, say, the handicap and betting without the big two. Do you have any fancies there, Ian?
With the handicap, I think you can basically divide the SPL into 3 sections. Obviously you've got the big 2 up the top, and then you've got 5 teams: Hibs, Hearts, Dundee United, Aberdeen and Motherwell, who'll all be looking to challenge for the 3rd spot. And then you've got the other teams below them. Many of them, their sole objective will be to stay up. So I think the key is to get a team in that bottom up bit who got a chance of pushing on. And I think you can get a 40-point start with Falkirk and I believe they could go well. John Hughes has brought in some experienced players this year. A couple of untried, Burton O'Brien from Sheffield Wednesday, who could train on and get a good chance there. So I'd go for them on the handicap. I like Dundee United without the big two.
Okay, that's good stuff. Now Dale, just quickly further down the Scottish League, there's one team that has been particularly well backed. Tell us all.
Oh, it must be to do with some newspaper, I think, Bruce. I don't know. Peterhead, that was the tip early on from you boys here. We were 8-1. You do move markets. We're 4s now. So that's the one team. Actually, that's a much worse result. Much more money in this division than the Scottish Premier. As I say, no interest there. But everybody who was on at 8-1 are obviously delighted now they can sit back and watch their money just grow through the season.
They've got a really good chance, I think, in that league. They've got good strikers. They've got they've got Martin Bavidge, who scored a lot of goals last year, and they've got a lad in from Ross County who is scoring absolute goals for fun. He scored 5 or 6 over pre-season. They beat a full Aberdeen team 4-0, and they look a cracking bet.
Good stuff. Okay, well, we hope that helps you. Good luck with whatever you're backing this season in England and Scotland.